morning, David.
Good morning, how are you?
Good.
You're easy and flexible today? Who are you? And what'd you do with Frankie? Always. Always.
Thanks. Do you want to pray?
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Right.
Or forget?
Not always easy. Your last,
Get down.
Yeah,
your last request of me.
absolutely.
I want that to be a.
All right, y'all ready? Here we go. Good morning. This is Citrus County Planning and Development Commission hearing for February the 5th, 2026. If you'd like to join us at this time, we invite you to please stand for the invocation and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, please give us the grace to be understanding, patient, and tolerant. With these attributes, we can conduct our work in a manner which will be pleasing to Thee, our county, and its residents. In the Lord's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, great. For that note, if you can please, for the courtesy of the applicants, the board, and those around you, if you can place all your cellular devices on mute. Now, at this time, if you can bear with us, we got a little housekeeping that we got to take care of here. Today is my last day as chairman, so we got to find somebody to fill in this little chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Bramlett for chair.
A second.
We got a first for Commissioner Bramlett and a second by Commissioner Collins. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, any nominations for first vice chair?
I nominate Jeanette Collins.
I second that. We have a first for first vice chair for Commissioner Collins, second by myself. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, second vice chair. Any nominations? I nominate Mike Facemeyer as second vice chair.
Second.
So we've got a second by Commissioner Stone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. There's our new board. Now we can go ahead and play musical chairs real fast.
Shuffle. And your name tags too, please.
Where do we go?
Chair first, second. So. Jeanette, you are to his right, correct? Mr. Facemeyer will be in Mr. Sheriff's spot. Okay, that's fine.
Stuart and I were just bonding down here, and I got to move.
Yeah, man.
No more bonding.
I'm on here. I'm gonna be down here by Chuck. 6 years ago, I sat next to Chuck forever.
You know what? It wasn't anything personal. You know?
That's true. You probably have.
See you there in your accompanied place.
Mr. Barmis could have served, but he's like, I'm done.
If they put me here in my normal spot, I wouldn't have had to move.
Get over here, you're out of the camera, you're out of everything.
Okay, we got that situated. Let's see. We got everything else taken care of. I guess we'll do the roll call now.
All right, good morning. The following Planning and Development Commission members are present. Chair David Bramlett, first vice chair Jeanette Collins, second vice chair Michael Facemeyer, Richard Barmez, Robert Shera, Stuart Bozeman, Kurt Stone, and School Board Representative Chuck Dixon.
Thank you. If any person decides to appeal any decision made by the commission with respect to any matter considered at this hearing, he or she will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose, he or she may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record includes testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. During the public input portions of the meeting, individuals are given 3 minutes and representatives of an organization are given 5 minutes. When anyone wishing to speak comes to the podium, please complete a yellow form to hand to the recording secretary. Please print your name, address, and the number of the application for which you are speaking on the form. Yellow forms can be found at the podium by the door. If representing an organization, a letter of authorization must accompany the speaker. Comments will be limited to the topic being heard. Please state your name, spell your last name, and give your address for the tape record. So at this time, we'll have the open to the public portion of the meeting. This is an opportunity for anyone to come forward and speak on any matters that you may wish. Mr. Zerwinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, and staff. My name is Michael Serwinski. Last name is spelled Czerwinski. Don't hit that start button until after I finish spelling that name. It's a long one. I have two general topics to address today. I hope I have enough time. They're pertinent to the applications before you, but they're more general. The first is access management. Access management plans are good tools, cross-access easements to alleviate traffic, provide for public safety, reduce the need for additional signalization. In most cases, they work very well. In other cases, they need a little bit of help. For instance, the new target. You know after you use it a few times where the access points are. It's a little different than some of the other access management. But I'm going to give you a case in point where a little help is needed. And sometimes this really is hard for the applicant, I think, to encourage this. Citrus Cardiology right up the street. There is an access management plan for that. You have to pull into the hospice, what used to be the hospice, in order to gain access, both in front and in back of the hospice, there's access points. The general public does not know that. So what you have is a situation that's trying to be alleviated by that, which is public safety issues. People will drive past Citrus Cardiology because there's not an entrance, a left turn entrance there, and make a U-turn where people are coming at you at 65 miles an hour. So that help, I believe, is signage. I think on Highway 44 there, we need a sign that says this entrance is the entrance to those businesses there. It's unlikely that Citrus Cardiology is going to change with their investment, but we need a sign there to help people understand, not only on the road, but probably directing them through the hospice that says this is the access point. The only other way I think for that to be come forward is to have the owner of that business ask for a sign or to have directions on their brochures or their pamphlets. I really think it needs a public sign there. Now, when we talk about one of the applications before you, it's at a complex intersection. There was some discussion about access management not being used correctly. And that's to my point, that some of them need some help. On that particular application, I think we might want a sign on Southern and 486 that directs them to the VA. But I really think that that's a complex intersection and access management and easement is warranted in that case. Secondly, I want to address Croft Avenue. Again, this is in general. In reading through some of the application materials and the backup for the application before you today, Croft has been on the failing list for a long time. Whether you know it or not, the county, many years ago, Chuck may have recollection of this, decided that they were going to widen Croft Avenue and began acquiring property rights in the area. This is something that apparently is no longer a priority, but that road continues to fail. If you travel it at any time, you'll notice there are bike riders sometimes in that road. There are people with carts going shopping that are either on the road itself or a path has been ingrained into where Bell's is just to get to that shopping center. We really need voices to put Croft back on the priority list to widen and you have a multi-access trail. When we lost the access to Forest Ridge was supposed to be a through road all the way between 486 and 44. Croft is now one of those through roads, and it gets a lot more traffic. It's got a lot of pedestrian traffic. So if you could encourage your commissioners and others to prioritize the 4-laning of Croft or the 3-laning, whatever we need to do, and I think it warrants a multi-use trail as well. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. I'll take any questions.
No questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Staff announcements. We have no minutes.
No announcements at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lynn?
With the application, with regard to the applications you're about to hear, have you had any ex parte communications? And we'll start with Mr. Dixon.
Site visits.
Site visits.
None.
None.
Site visits?
None.
Mr. Chair, I just, they are sharing that mic, so they're going to have to make sure they talk into the mic when they.
Speak up to the mic.
None.
Really short one.
Alrighty, so we are ready for application number CU-2025-00017. Is the applicant present? Thank you. Floor is yours.
This application is a request to change a conditional use allowance from a model home office to a professional business office. This is an aerial view of the subject property. This is a view of the subject property. This is a northern view of North Croft Avenue. This is a southern view of North Croft Avenue. This is an eastern view from East Michael Street. And this is the site plan submitted by the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hang on just a moment. Thank you. Go ahead, you're fine.
What?
Go ahead.
Did I miss something?
No, you're good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm having a tea moment, you're fine.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. Mr. McFarland.
Yes. The reason for the conditional use is the fact that we had conditional use on this property for a construction office at one time, or at the present time, we still have the conditional use. And we are in the process, have a contract on it. An attorney and his wife would like to have the conditional use. They are going to use it for an attorney's office. They're very light traffic. He's a defense attorney, and this is what he would like to use the office for. And it's set up as a residential home, but there are rooms that they can use. There is a conference room that they're going to use as well. So that was the purpose why we came back to once again get the conditional use for them to be able to use this building.
Okay. Does that wrap up your presentation?
Yes.
Staff?
Thank you. I'm sorry, I was a little ahead of myself there. A couple things. I think in 2006, we were so specific about your specific use because you were the first commercial area, one in this area. I couldn't find any code enforcement complaints since 06. Are you aware of any, have you had any complaints about the business being there?
None.
Okay. And you see some discussion in the staff report about the driveway apron and how wide it is. So can you talk about that just a little bit?
Well, when we initially did that driveway, I came in and talked to the assistant director at that time. Can't remember his name. It's been 20 years ago. And I know that a few years back he passed. So we discussed about that driveway. And at the time, he had said that it would be fine to make that apron as wide as it was. So we went ahead and did it, had the building department come out and actually inspect it before we poured the concrete. and it was approved. But as things have changed, we can make changes to that apron if we need to and are willing to.
Okay, thank you, sir. Nothing else.
Thank you. Any questions of the applicant from the board?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
you mentioned, Mr. McFarland, that that home was built for a construction office.
Correct.
But the previous conditional use and the permit says it's a model home. Can you explain what the difference is?
It was
opinion?
built as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, but we did increase for handicap access to bathroom on one of the bathrooms. But it has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, small kitchen. If we go in and take out all the cabinets and everything, we could sell it as a residential home.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. Scherer.
we did see some public comment regarding your application, particularly regarding privacy. And one of the requests of the people that live behind your home with a private residence would be to install something that would give them a break from their backyard into the proposed business. Are you prepared to do something like that?
The issue is, we have never met that neighbor, never, ever had an issue with that neighbor, and we've been there since 2006. Recently, he took out shrubs that were 3.5 feet tall, all the way across in between the trees that you can see in the pictures that he took. Or, I don't know why, but we've never had an issue, and if I sold it as a residential home, I wouldn't make any different, I wouldn't make any changes, so no, I would rather not have to put up a fence or put in shrubbery. Because we can't, if you look at the pictures and you look at where the windows are, everything has blinds on it, and the windows are closed all the time, air-conditioned heat, blinds are shut. We never look into his backyard. And the person that's along the edge of our driveway put up his own privacy fence for his own personal use. We did not do that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Collins.
Yeah, I have one question. So typically, when we're considering these types of uses in a medium-density residential, the primary thing we're looking for is compatibility and least impact. And I just want to make sure you're aware that there would be no outside storage allowed. I realize in an attorney's office that would be unlikely, but an office is an office. If it were to change to another office use, is that
There will be no outside storage, I know, at least from him, but again, if he sold that, I want to ask you this question, would he have to come back for conditional use again?
Yeah, that's something we could probably ask staff when they come up.
Okay.
Yeah, typically, well, we'll talk with staff at that time.
Okay,
Thank you.
because that would be something that he would have to deal with if he ever did sell it. But like I said, there will be no outside storage. There isn't any outside storage now, and we never had any outside storage during the time that we were there.
Okay.
Very good, Ms. Collins.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Anyone else on the board have any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. McFarland.
All right, thank you.
We'll have the staff presentation now.
Good morning, Board. Frankie Pylan, planner. We're looking at application CU 2025-00017 for Donald McFarland. The property's address is 2921 East Michael Street, which, as you've seen, is at the intersection of Croft Avenue. Moving past that, the zoning is rural residential. Doesn't feel right. It's medium density. Medium density residential. There's a typo there. When we look at the property, it looks like a house. It was originally permitted as a house, and like you've heard, in 2006, there was a conditional use that was approved to allow this to be a model home with a sales office. I think that's where we get the concept of it being a construction office. There was a sales component to that model home. Looking down Croft Avenue, you see a lot of wooded lots, and it's basically around other residential properties, though there's a lot of undeveloped land around it. East Michael Street goes into a residential area. They have provided a site plan. One of the concerns that we had to do with the driveway apron being wider than that which was allowed. Technical Services did provide a statement that basically states that the existing driveway will require a reduction in size, that the last permitted width of the driveway was 12 foot. Driveways have a maximum width of 36 foot with stormwater compensation as part of permitting. That is something we would like to have addressed through the conditions and at the time of any permitting for a change of use. And what they're asking for is a professional business office. That doesn't specifically state that it has to be an attorney's office. It would have to be something that would fall within the professional business scope. Do you guys have any questions?
Does the applicant have any questions of the staff? Does the board have any questions? Mr. Facemeyer.
Frankie, what other professional types of businesses could be located there? The applicant specifically mentioned and requested an attorney's office, but there could be, an attorney's office would have light traffic. Other professional businesses might have heavy traffic. Can you tell me what other types of professional businesses could locate there?
Going off the top of my head, things like an accountant would fall under professional business office. An architect office, maybe. Wouldn't be necessarily a retail store, but it would be something where you would have essentially an office. I don't know if
Yeah.
a little bit.
Is it defined anywhere?
Yeah, professional office is a general category, so we have a listing of some offices that could be there, and I agree with you, there could be something that might have a high traffic as a professional office, although the one he's listing certainly don't. In 06, we were super specific, which is a little unusual. Model home was sales office. It usually would have been professional office. And so that's what they would like to have now, so they have some flexibility. I heard about the outdoor storage. That's a good point. If a contractor's office, for example, moved in there, that's usually not high traffic either, but they might want some outdoor storage. So I think a condition of no outdoor storage would make sense. We can say something like professional office such as an attorney office or similar use. Not super specific, but it also says, it also says if something's high traffic. I'm trying to think of a professional office. Probably the real estate office is the most, and even those don't really have a lot of high traffic.
I'm just concerned that, sometime after we're all gone, that this next person, business that acquires this property, decides to sell to a high traffic, high use person, business that we can't foresee. I'm just trying to look down the road.
Right. This is just off of 40.
I made the
That's
site
good
visit,
news.
so.
Yeah, that's the good news. Is it is. Professional office or similar use.
Yeah, one of the things I observed when I was there is that the line of sight to the left exiting Michael is terrible. I mean, that's
Yes.
got nothing to do with the application, but it's just the dynamic of the property.
Professional that have high impact. I think professional office, we're covering it. That does not cover, like you said, retail. That does not cover. I don't know of a high traffic professional office I can think of off the top of my head. I think that's a hair salon would not be a professional office. No, that wouldn't come into it. But that's a good point. A professional office is a professional office, but that's not. Hair salon wouldn't come under that category. It literally is office. So. Engineering, yes, as he's right.
And I would agree, all those are low traffic.
Right. That is not a medical office, for example, which would be higher.
It's not.
Yeah. So we can say something like that if you want to make it specific. Professional office, not including medical or not including outdoor storage. A couple things in there for caveats. Just so when I'm not here and Joe's not here, somebody says, "Oh, medical's fine." We can certainly tighten it.
Okay, I'd be comfortable with that.
Any additional questions? Mr. Scherer.
Morning, Frankie.
Morning, sir.
I didn't quite understand the comment regarding the concrete driveway and staff's concern, technical staff concern on that driveway. And I was also wondering where the parking will be and how many parking spots are going to be required for this. So we keep people off the street, not parking on the street to conduct business.
Okay, so as we look at the use, when it gets changed to this professional business office, they're going to have to go through a permitting process for the change of use. And at that time, they're going to look at the square footage of the building, what it's being used for, and that'll give them a calculation for how many parking spots are needed. Looking at the driveway, when we looked at aerial imaging, when we looked at old permits and what have you, what we saw is that the driveway was a different shape in the past than it is now. And so they expanded that apron larger along the right-of-way and attached to the roadway, if you will, larger than that which it was and larger than what appears to be allowed by code. So we asked technical services, our engineering, to comment on that, and it was their opinion that it is larger than that which is allowed, and they've offered some information about what the standard size is and what the allowance is to go larger if they have some stormwater capabilities or compensations, if you will. So the max they stated was 36 foot in the right-of-way apron for a driveway, and they're basically saying that the last permitted driveway that they know of was 12 foot. So there is an enlargement that happened at some point in time. I believe the site plan shows a 50-foot driveway currently.
Okay, so staff's recommendation, technical staff recommendation would be during a permitting process, a condition of a permit would be to reduce the apron width.
Correct. That would be part of the site review. When this gets permitted, they're going to look at the site, and we're going to take a look at things like landscaping. We're going to take a look at things like parking spaces, handicap spaces. All of that's part of that site review for the change of use.
And if it exists now, is there a reason to change it?
If it exists now and wasn't permitted, then yes, there is a reason to change it.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, Commissioner, Chair.
Mr. Barmes?
Isn't this the kind of untypical to have a seller of a property come in and ask change the status in order for him to sell it to attorney's office or whatever? This is not the typical way that we do this, right?
I would say that it falls within the scope of the owner of the property is the one that's positioning for an application to allow for a different use. It seems like they have a plan, and the plan is to sell it to an end user, and they're trying to stay above the sale and make sure that it is sold with the allowable uses that are a part of what they're trying to do there. But it is the owner that's here asking for the application, and I feel like that is appropriate.
All right, then just touch on the concrete. If there are, with our conditional use, if we go with technical services, there will be no after-the-fact permits. It will be a removal, correct?
I don't know if they necessarily would call it after the fact. They're going to have to redesign it. And so they're going to be submitting essentially a new permit for a parking lot, including a driveway apron. I don't necessarily think it would be an after the fact because technical services has pretty much indicated that what they have there is not allowed. You can't be that big. So it's going to have to be modified and reduced to some degree. How they engineer, that's up to them. But I don't think it would be after the fact.
No, agreed. Agreed. 36 is the max, and I know they're in discussions with an engineer. We talked a little bit before the meeting. They either can reduce it to 36 or reduce it even further. A typical is 24. And either way, they'll have to get the engineering as part of the permit and deal with that. They can't keep the one they have there now.
But what's the purpose of not keeping the one there?
Because we don't want a free-for-all on entries. On this side road, it's not as big a deal. It would be a huge deal on 486, for example, where you can enter in 55 feet of entrance. It's meant for access management. Mr. Zawinski talked about earlier. You're limited. The 24 feet is supposed to be for a commercial max.
And if they wanted to go to 36, what is stormwater compensation?
They have to actually provide extra stormwater compensation beyond what is typically allowed because of that extra. Because it's actually an apron that's in the right-of-way and not necessarily on their lot, they've got to compensate for it on their lot, that extra.
And what form would that take?
A DRA, a berm, a swale, something to catch the extra water, the extra storm water.
All right.
And I'm not an engineer, sorry, I know I sound not engineerish, but
I am an engineer.
no, that's why I'm like, I'm looking at your eyes, and he's like, what are you saying?
It sounds fine to me.
Okay, all right.
Any additional questions?
I had one.
Yes, sir.
So in regard, I know we've beaten on the driveway, but it sounds like that's a done deal. That has to be done in order for this to move forward, correct?
It would be addressed at the time of permitting. When this change of use comes to us with the site plan, it's going to be addressed one way or another, or they're not going to get their permit issued. So it's not that it's a done deal, but it's something that's going to have to be dealt with if they want to see a vote to change the use.
And there will be provisions on the redesign for stormwater management as part of any change that's required, correct?
Technical services, as well as the building department, review the applications. So, I mean, they would not only give a recommendation, but they would deny it if they felt that something was inappropriate.
Okay.
Any additional questions? I have a couple here.
Okay.
So the public input regarding the buffering, can you tell me what a type C buffer is? What's a type C buffer consist of?
Type C, I believe, is 15 foot, and it has a larger quantity of trees than a type A or a type B. Offhand, I don't remember the amount of
Do you
trees.
believe that this particular property has a type C buffer at the rear of it right now?
No.
Because that was a condition of the permit in 2006, or of the conditional use.
Your slides seem to show some trees there behind it. Keep going.
It says specifically, type C buffers will be required along the north, east, and south property lines as they abut residential land uses, and the west property line as it abuts a collector road. Additional landscaping will be required within the parking area. These items will be verified as part of the permit review approval process. So I'm guessing that they were in at some point, or maybe somebody missed it. So I know that we have the condition in there where it doesn't, where it says whereas not stated, conditions of the land development code will be adhered to for this particular. So would that include the type C buffering?
So, and again, that goes back to when this gets permitted for the change of occupancy or the change of use. We're going to look at landscape buffers. Along that, you have roadways. Type A buffers are required along your roads and what have you. So we're going to look at the landscape buffers. I would say that whoever purchases this and redevelops it into the professional business office has some work cut out for them with things like landscape buffers, parking lot design, parking lot landscaping. There are things that we're going to require, and I think at that time is when we're really going to dive into that. And they're going to have to give us some sort of landscape plan showing what they have actively on the property and what they're proposing to put on the property. So I don't know if it's necessarily something that could be addressed at this point, but it's definitely something that will be addressed at the time of permitting.
Yeah, right. No, I'm okay with it not being addressed here as long as I know and I believe that that's what it says in the conditions that, and I trust staff and permitting and everyone else to do their jobs as long as we know, because I just want to make sure that we address the public input.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't require a fence, then I don't want to make somebody do something over and above what's required. But if what is required isn't there, I would like to make sure that that is that it's going to be there. And then the other part of it was I just wanted you to address the question that the applicant had. He actually didn't step up and ask about it, but the change of use, or if the lawyer somewhere down the road or the attorney somewhere down the road sells it, does the conditional use transfer?
Correct. The conditional use, I mean, as long as it doesn't expire, meaning that they don't just walk away from it and leave this house vacant for a year, or this business vacant for a year. But as long as it continues to have a use, the conditional use is going to be there. And again, it's going to open that door for professional business offices, not necessarily specifically a realtor or an attorney's office, but it'll continue to have the conditional use allowance for those types of uses. And as long as it stays consistent and it doesn't have a larger break than what's allowed, then it'll be allowed to continue.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Scherer.
I'd just like to follow up on that. I did ask the applicant the question about fence or other type of privacy. I don't think it should be the obligation of the resident behind the home to build their own privacy fence if they feel that there's excess noise, glare, not noise, pardon me, but excess glare or even privacy necessary. So I think that's important. I'm glad you brought that up again. Sorry. It is important that we make we do follow what was in the original application, in the original ordinance, and go forward with that.
Understood. And I believe the board has the ability to add a condition that a fence be installed if that is the direction that the board wanted to go.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just
Yes, sir.
for some clarification, a type C,
I don't know what that is. No?
Fire alarm.
yeah, a type C landscape buffer is 6 trees and 24 shrubs per 100 linear feet of property line.
Okay, and there's clearly not that, the rear now, just based on the photos that we're seeing. So I feel like condition number 5, where standards are not specified herein, the Citrus County Land Development Code standards or current code standards will apply, would sort of address the buffering. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, so with it being residential adjacent to it, it would be, buffering from a commercial business to a residential, which would be a type C.
Even vacant residential?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we will have the public portion. Thank you, Frankie.
Thank you.
We'll have the public portion of the application now. Is anyone here to speak on this application? None? Seeing none, we will close the public portion, bring it back to the board for discussion. Motions, questions?
Mr. Chairman, I am in favor of this application, as long as we tighten up that language we discussed earlier. It remains a professional operation, and nothing beyond that. I'm reminded of an application we had a number of years ago. I know you were still on the commission at the time. We denied an application for a kayak business not too far from this location because of traffic concerns. So as long as this is, an occasional in and out, I'm okay with it.
Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Scherer?
I think what's important here is that, number one, we don't know what other type of professional office entity could move into this building at a later date, and requiring that this particular application comply with the code, whether it's the driveway apron width, whether it's stormwater, whether it's landscaping. It's important because we can't predict what the next, professional office use would be and the amount of traffic or others. So I think making sure the conditions are clear regarding the items we talked about, no outside storage, the landscaping requirements, and the apron, if that's necessary, to be specifically called out. I'll follow the discretion of staff on that. I think with that, I would support this.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Commissioner Chair.
Mr. Barmez?
Yeah. I don't totally agree with this, but I totally don't disagree either. One thing I'd like to see in the conditions is that I believe there should be some kind of an expiration date if testimony I got from Frankie was that they can change businesses, but the conditional use will stay with them. But I don't think should happen in this case. I think it should be expired if they sell the property or release it, and make them come back to this board to make the decision at that time, because times change. 2006, here we are 20 years later, and we're addressing a conditional use on the same property. That process, if the way Frankie explained it, we're not sure why they're even here, right? If it doesn't expire.
Everybody's looking at me.
Well, I'm saying is
They're
that
changing the use,
they're changing the use.
so that's why
They're
it's.
changing it from a professional office to professional office.
No, they're
From a
changing it
construction
from a
office-
construction model, or model home construction to professional office. Those are two different things. So that's why they're here. But as long as it continues as a professional office, they would not have to come back. No matter change in ownership, lease, it goes with the property.
So I'm kinda
Unless you say
confused.
otherwise.
On 2406 medium I'm sorry, let me borrow this. Under office uses, it says professional business office. This is a professional business office, right?
No, it's currently,
Currently.
it's a model home
With sales office.
with sales office. It's very specific. Conditional uses are very specific.
It's a little gray on my paper here, but that's okay. I
I
understand.
think you're looking at the list of potential uses.
Mm-hmm.
But the conditional use trumps that chart because it's specific to what's approved in the conditional use. So it's not the generality of that chart.
Thank you.
Right, so based on what the comments I'm hearing, condition one would be this conditional use shall allow for a professional business office, and then in parentheses, not a medical office, as outlined on the site plan, date stamped, whatever. And then the statement of there should be no outdoor storage on the site. Trying to cover both of those.
Would you like her to add something in the language, a professional office with low
Low impact.
traffic or low?
That's so subjective, though. I hate it when we create subjective terminology.
Where I was
My
struggling.
question is that I can't understand. Is there not a definition of like a list of businesses that fall under PSO? Like somewhere somebody goes, I'm going to buy this PSO property. Me as a real estate agent, I can go somewhere and go, okay, PSO. That falls under PSO. How can we leave it so gray, like just subjective, basically? Then
Because there's always new uses and we can't. But professional business office is a whole category, and then PSO is a different category. It's going to allow, say, Wendy's. It'll not the drive-through, but it'll allow Wendy's if you walk in. So that wouldn't be a good one either. Professional business office is like we talked about with the attorney and with the accountant, et cetera. And I think saying not medical office, that's the only place I can think you might morph into that category and say maybe, well, it's a doctor's office, they're professionals. No, that's pushing it. So I think we're covering it and narrowing it pretty good.
so to cover what Mr. Barmez is talking about, somewhere down the line, the attorney changes or sells the building, and then he sells it to someone, and they want to change the use from an attorney's office to what they think is another professional business office. Where is the trigger for that? Do they come in for a permit to go, hey, I bought this building. It was an attorney's office. Now I want to use it for XYZ. Is that allowed, or do they just buy it and they just assume the role?
There's a couple ways to go about it. Hopefully they'll check on it first, and if they call and say, yeah, we were an attorney's office and now we want to be an accountant's office, we would say, check, no problems,
Right.
don't need to see you. If they say, but now we want to be a X-ray tech office, no, that's a problem. That's a change of use. Your CU is not going to qualify there. And that's what happened here is they wanted to sell it. They called and said, can we sell it to this attorney? And we said, no, unfortunately, you're a model home sales office. You're a sales office with model home with sales office.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So they'd have to come before you.
What safeguards are in place to prevent a future owner from selling that without contacting the county?
There's not. People do that, and that would be just a code enforcement thing. It happens. Unfortunately, it happens. We see
All the time.
We see people move in places, and we're like, what the heck? What are you doing that you can't be there? And that's what we see them in code. There's not a way to stop the sales.
Yeah.
Is there a way, in the event of what Commissioner Brownlee just said, to require there to at least be a review in the event the attorney decides to sell the property? Right now, the conditions, as I understand it, are no outside storage, address the buffer, address the apron as part of the permitting process. That's going to be a requirement in the agreement. But again, if 5 years down the road the attorney decides, I'm going to sell, I'm retiring, and I'm going to sell it, at minimum, some sort of a review process, as opposed to hoping that they call us and say, is this okay to do? It seems a little bit open-ended to me.
I mean, one of the problems you have is the alleged attorney is not here. So we don't know who that attorney may or may not be. It would, in an ideal world, that person would be here and would hear your words, and know that they're supposed to check. But since we don't know who that attorney is, and maybe she wants to sell it, and there's nothing we can do. No?
Could it be added as a condition?
See, I think you're just kicking it again, because if we put a condition in here that says any change in occupancy requires a new permit review, again, I'm still relying on them. How would I know they've changed occupancy? I don't monitor sales. So unless somebody complains about it, we won't know again. So there's still a problem, unfortunately.
I think we rely on, unfortunately, with so many things. We're talking about this one isolated thing, but on a daily basis, you know, in an ideal world, everyone would come to come to government and ask before they do things, but they don't. So we rely on the neighbors. If they start seeing things, I'm sure the neighbor, at least this neighbor, is aware of what's going on. They're probably going to get a copy of this, and if they start seeing things being stored outside, or if they see moving trucks coming and going, we just have no way.
Setting some sort of precedence is I guess is what I'm saying. If you're going to sell it down the road, there's been part of the agreement that, you know, at minimum, just have a quick review. If nothing else, call and say, hey, I'm selling it to Joe, who's an accountant. Check, no problem. At least the call is going to be required to be made rather than just have it just happen, and then we're depending upon the neighbor behind them to bring it to the county's attention that, hey, somebody opened a preschool over there and there's 100 cars a day filing in and out of that parking lot. Now, that may be a little bit over the top, but right now there's no backstop. And I'm not opposed to the project or to the change. I think it's perfectly fine, provided that the conditions are met that we've spelled out. But this could just be one additional backstop that would, at minimum, require a phone call.
And again, the only thing that I would say is the alleged attorney is not here. So anything you put in this requirement is going to be to the current owner, who's the applicant. So,
Right, who has to fully disclose anything about the property as part of the sales transaction. David, does that sound accurate?
I'm not a part of that transaction, so I'm not going to speak.
No, I know, but I mean,
disclosure is law for sure.
yeah. So I mean, if the seller is agreeable to making that disclosure, you know, that gives us a backstop.
The only thing I would say is we don't put any guardrails on any of the other conditional uses. We do the best that we can. That's why it's here in front of us. We do the best that we can on this one. I don't think from what it sounds like, nobody up here is against this conditional use change of use. We're gonna put the guardrails in place that we have a ability to put in place, but I'm not in favor of adding any additional conditions or any guardrails to this particular person that anybody else that would come in front of us would not expect to have. So if we're gonna have a level of trust with the public and the businesses that they do, which is what we do every single day, I'm saying we're a volunteer board, but I'm talking about the county and just us, the citizens as a whole. Then it's what we do. You know, we put the guardrails in place that we have, and then you be diligent about what you have. If this neighbor's worried about people looking in their windows, I promise you, if there's starting to be a ton of traffic and a lot of cars pulling in and out of there, somebody's going to hear about it, right? So I think trying to put a condition in that says if I sell this building, I need to call the county. I'm sorry, but that's kind of ridiculous, right? As an agent, I'd be like, you know, who's to say I'm selling this building? It's going to be another attorney, but that's a lie. You just say okay, and then you know it's all just an honor system. That's all we've really got. And like Ms. Katu said, businesses change hands all the time without people calling anyone, and then they're running non-conforming uses out of businesses. I see it constantly. Literally, the last meeting that we had here, I talked about it. Open air storage, they're everywhere. The ones that come in front of us and do it the right way, sometimes they get turned down. These people that do things on their own, the rebels, you know, they continue to, you know, be able to go and keep their business. But until people want to step up and say, hey, this isn't right, and, you know, deal with it, this is all we've got for now. That's my opinion.
Mr. Chair, I fully agree. We have classified or clarified it as professional business office. I think doing anything else is overreach. I don't think it's to the point that it's likely unenforceable. I think that this is very clear as to what the intention is. If they come back and want something different than what's classified as a professional business office, they will be required to come back, whether it's voluntarily or through some compliance action. So I think we've done what we should do here.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's see. Keep this meeting moving. I'm going to say the Planning and Development Commission finds application number CU-2025-00017 consistent with the Citrus County Comprehensive Plan and the Citrus County Land Development Code, and that the board approves with the conditions talked about at length. The application based upon the evidence and testimony presented and the staff report and conclusions regarding this petition. It has been determined that approving the proposed conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest, that there is compliance with special rules governing individual conditional uses of the type involved, that the proposed development with conditions and safeguards attached would be generally compatible with adjacent properties and other property in the district, and that the PDC is empowered under the section of the LDC described in the application to grant this conditional use.
Second.
We have a first by Mr. Bramblett, myself, and a second by Mr. Facemeyer. Is there any discussion?
Can we just clarify the conditions? Are they not changing as written, or they have changed as written?
Condition 1 would instead be, shall allow for a professional business office, not a medical office, and add the clause with no outdoor storage allowed.
And the concrete is covered in number 5, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Actually, no, it's actually covered in number 2.
Number 2, as long as it's covered. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Give me 1 second. Okay, we are ready for CPA-AA-PUD-2025-00011. Can have the staff presentation, please.
This is a map of the subject property. This is a photo of the subject property. This is a photo looking north from the subject property. This is a photo looking south across Highway 44. This is looking east from the subject property. This is looking west from the subject property. This is the site plan as submitted by the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Sir.
Hi, my name is John Braswell. My company owns HC Lecanto LLC. We've been working on this project for many, many years with our partner here, Steve Vanderhei of Guardian Development. This project is a joint effort between our private company and Steve's company as a small business concern. Steve is a service-disabled, veterans-owned small business. This project was awarded to us in September of '24. It's for a new community-based outpatient clinic. These clinics are going in all across the U.S. to serve our veterans' needs. This was a competitive bid process where several sites within the community within a certain delineated area were submitted. We went through a lengthy process of approval and vetting by VA, and the project was ultimately awarded to Guardian Development and Steve's group. We have a teaming agreement with Steve, and we created the special purpose entity HC Lecanto LLC that then closed on the property. We learned during our submission process with the county here that we needed to ask for approval of a PUD and the development subsequent to that, and it would require a change of the flume because we are in a newly designated 44I MIA area, I believe. And so to develop the facility here, it's required to create the PUD under that designation. So we've had our engineers, Sane and Associates, working closely with staff and Melissa and her group to get to where we are today. And we're here to seek approval for that, and happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Thank you, sir. Staff, have any questions of the applicant?
No, thank you.
None? Thank you. Questions from the board?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Scherer.
Hey, just for clarification, you're the local entity that has purchased the site. If this project goes forward, will that site then be sold to the VA? Or will you remain?
Will not. The VA has a long-term lease with us for 20 years, so we would be the owner of the facility. Right now, my REIT owns 39 facilities across the U.S., encompassing close to 800,000 square feet of space. A typical VA occupancy is in the 40-year time range, but they commence with a 20-year full-service lease. We are responsible for maintaining everything on the site, from landscaping, light bulbs, painting the building, exterior maintenance, interior maintenance, janitorial service, electrical, sewer, water, the whole 9 yards. So we have a portfolio of buildings that we manage across the U.S. This facility, when developed, would serve the community for approximately 40 years and would remain under a lease during that entire time.
So the VA is a tenant?
The VA is the
And
tenant.
you would be responsible for all the grounds, all the building, exterior at least, I'm not sure about interior, but any issues that would, or circumstances that would evolve over time would go back to you and directed to you as the landowner.
Correct. VA is the tenant. Anything, we have a very lengthy lease, and when we submitted this, Steve put together a procurement package or a solicitation package that involved around 600 or 700 pages of documents that we not only had to be scored on then, but we also play forward and are adhered to within the lease. So the same lease that we have today will commence once the building is completed and run for a 20-year term, and it will dictate to us what we have to do for everything in the facility from a maintenance standpoint.
So can I assume that the VA then is actually doing the engineering, design, architectural finishes of the building itself?
They do not, because it's privately owned and they are the occupant. They have very specific agency requirements that we adhere to, both from an engineering standpoint and aesthetics. We give them colors and everything that they choose. We do all that during the process of the procurement. When the thing is competitively bid, we probably competed against half a dozen other individuals and companies that were all SD/VOSB set-asides in this situation for VA. And they select the facility that not only that they're able to perform their mission in from a parking, flow, interior, exterior standpoint, but also a facility that demonstrates and conveys to the clients, the veterans, the most important people there, a healing, welcoming environment. And that is why the facility is designed the way it is. They don't ever want a facility to be harsh and cold and look like a government institution or anything. And so that's why you see the look on the exterior renderings of the facility that were submitted, why the building looks the way it does.
I think procedurally, if I have a question, I've got to ask you now because I'm not sure I can ask you later. There is one comment I want to focus on from the county technical staff related to the exterior finish of the building, related to coated metal or uncoated metals. And I saw the letter that I'm not sure, is this your organization, DAU?
DAU is our architectural firm who designed the facility.
And I just want to know, are you capable of even discussing what that finish is and looks like?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We submitted to staff, I think, if we have the ability to show those.
So if I could, Mr. Chair, are we permitted to come back and ask a question on this topic after the applicant has sat down, or are we limited only to, well, he's making a presentation?
I would say that you have the material in front of you. You have the staff. If you have any questions regarding the material and the deviations on the facade, because I too read that and have questions regarding that you could just ask those questions now and then follow up with the staff.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just keep it brief. You are requesting a deviation. The county technical staff has said that that should not be permitted in this particular case. And so can you just describe what this product is? I've seen the architectural renderings that are in your letter and in the presentation. what in fact is this product? Because it's I'm sorry, I moved from the microphone, but I do have a note here. It's a PVDF coating. So it sounds like it's not bare metal, but what is that?
Metal. It is a manufactured metal that we use on these facilities, and it creates a modern yet warm feel. It really mimics another material, and it looks more closely to a wood than it does a metal. There's no raw metal finishes. It is a very expensive material because, again, we have to maintain the facility for 20 to 40 years. It is a lifetime product. It does not rust. It meets the hurricane wind standards. It's attached to the facade on the exterior, and it is so much better than any other long-term application that we could use. Stucco is not a good idea down here with the humidity, as y'all know. It requires continued maintenance, but due to the look and the feel and integrating it into the total design on the exterior that really achieved the award from VA, and the look and the warmth and welcoming look that they wanted, we had to choose a material that not only conveyed that, but that also lasted forever. And so you will not see any galvanized exposure ribs, no corrugation. You won't see any fasteners associated with it. It is suspended from the face of the building. The envelope of the building is the structure of the building, and this is applied to the facade on the outside, and it mimics other materials. You can get it in a wide range. Anything that looks from wood, oak, teak to zinc or copper, a rusted look with steel. But we've chosen one that has, again, to convey to the clients there a warm, welcoming feel, a earth tone, darker color, not too dark, but there's something that mimics more of a wood look.
And did you say there's a long-term warranty under this product as well?
It is. I don't recall off the top of my head, but it is a lifetime on the finish of the product itself and a very long warranty on the installation of it.
And as
Again, it meets all
landlord,
the hurricane
I'm sorry,
standards.
as landlord, if there's any deterioration of the product or any issues, you would be obligated to make those repairs or replacements?
We are. The contract, our lease contract states that we're responsible for not only the interior maintenance of it, but the exterior maintenance of it also. And so anytime in our lease, because it is full service, if the parking lot needs restriping or resealing, we have to do that. If the exterior of the building is missing a component or something happens, gutters, exterior windows fogging up, anything like that, it's our responsibility to bring it back up to that original standard.
Changing gears, just one last question regarding traffic. It's a busy part of Route 44. There's a lot going on in that particular area. There's a development going on, not across the street, but to the, slightly to the east and to the south of this area. Is it proposed that you would have only one way, well, you're going to have two accesses to West Southern Street as well as an access in front of the building. Is it going to be right turn only?
It would be right turn in, right turn out only at that main entrance coming in because we do not have a median cut at that location. The other road on the north side there that we're going to be improving, that current lane, we are going to be required by FDOT to modify the median cut there. But again, it will be a right in and right out only. The modification of that median cut will alter the way southern bound traffic turns left into that newly improved road.
I need to think about that. Turns left into the newly improved road.
Yes. If you look at the site plan here, the cut we're talking about is on the immediate lower left corner of the site plan. That entrance there is a right in and right out only. If you see right below it, that is currently a immediate designation. Can I point with that?
And point it down.
Okay.
And it'll show them all.
Okay, perfect, thank you. This area right here, that is where the road improvement would occur, and the intersection would be modified out in the FDOT right-of-way to, they want more stacking to turn left there, and they want to modify the left turn coming into that. So there would be no ability leaving this site to turn left. You would have to turn out right and go up and make a U-turn. And down in the other area here on the extreme opposite end, there is a traffic signal whereby the FDOT has said that they want folks to, instead of signalizing this, and we don't have room to enter here with a driveway, they are allowing folks to do a U-turn and then come in and turn right into the property.
So access coming left on Route 44 would be a stacking lane that could turn either into West, I just lost the name, West Southern Street, or go down and make a U-turn at a traffic light and come in and make a right-hand turn.
Correct.
I see.
Correct.
But no left-hand turns out of this complex cutting across Route 44.
No, sir, we do not have the ability. And with the sight lines, given the topographic change there with a curve on this extreme end here, they felt that we could not have another cut because there's one, as we just discussed, there's one on each end of the property. And by rule of FDOT, we did not have enough room to introduce another median cut there at our main entry.
So other than the one requested deviation for the coated material on the exterior, is there anything else that have you accepted all the other county conditions and standards?
Well, I had a question regarding that. In the report and the conclusions with staff's recommendations in the back, I believe staff was okay and supported the deviation on the metal. There was also the cross access through the property that I believe, because of the nature of the use of this facility, was also in support of staff. But we are in complete agreement with everything with the way it is written there with those conditions for approval.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Bozeman, and then 1 second. Could we pull up slide 155, please? Or it's on page 155. So there's a lot of discussion regarding the facade and, the
It's in staff's presentation.
breakup.
It's in staff's presentation.
I know. I just wanted to have the picture up while we were talking about it because it kind of is being discussed a little bit, and he was here talking about it, so I thought it'd be okay for us to look at it. I guess it's page 2 of the staff report.
I had told her no
Oh.
because it's not been introduced yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I understand.
That's why she's looking at me.
Stay
like,
in my lane
"You
over
really want
here.
me to?"
I get it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I wasn't putting you under any pressure. No pressure. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, Commissioner Chair. Go ahead.
Mr. Bozeman. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm looking at the renderings on the tablet and being familiar with that product, like it. It looks good, and if it's a requirement, of course, the DOT has, or the VA has standards. The one question I've got, so I'm heading east on State Road 44. I will have access on Southern Street, turn in. Is that correct? Direct access without a U-turn?
Correct, right in.
Okay. The access point in the center is only accessible by going past, making a U-turn, coming back in, or turning right if you're westbound on 44, correct? I just want to clarify that in my mind.
Yes, sir.
And there's all stipulations made for ingress, or for acceleration, deceleration lanes as part of the design. Is that a DOT requirement they've placed on y'all?
It is. There is, I believe, a decel and a short decel lane and an acceleration lane, and it's hard to see here.
Yeah, I couldn't
I'll try to
figure that
point
out.
to it again. There's some topo information showing up here.
I mean, you would, if you're eastbound, I wouldn't expect there necessarily be one because you're going to be on the opposite side of the road turning in. But in the center island, is there any provisions, or is there a center island there? I don't know. I've got to drive by and have another look.
Okay, there's a trick to it. Yes. Okay, yep. If you see right here, those lines there represent a turn lane that will be installed westerly so that folks can come down and turn right into that main entrance there.
Okay.
And then there's a short acceleration lane right here.
Okay.
And then the modification that they're asking to occur here, because of our trips per day, and it's not shown here, it runs off the page, but there is a left turn lane if you're headed in this direction, which I guess is easterly here.
Right.
They want us to modify the length of that and require more stacking so that left turns can be made into the site there.
Okay. And now, to Southern Street, right now, it's pretty much a dirt road until you get down a ways, right?
It is a pig trail.
Oh, yeah, I've been down it a few
Small,
times.
real small.
And very narrow, too, with a fence on both sides and weeds hanging out in the woods. And what's the provision for that? Because if I'm a veteran, so if I have access to this facility and I'd say, I'm going to pull out on Southern Street and hang a right because of where I live, that's a quick way for me to get home. Is there any provisions made to do anything with that road beyond your property line, or where does your requirement start and stop? Obviously, it starts at the right-of-way from State Road 44.
Correct.
But how far up Southern Street does your requirement are you required to improve that road?
I believe it is to this hatched point here that you see.
Right.
Where it ends. That is the point at which the road changes, and forgive me because I don't know exactly where, but this road turns from, and forgive my language, this road turns from a pig trail that is just wide enough barely for one car.
Which it is.
To a wider right-of-way that has actually looks as though it has been maintained with a road scraper for a typical dirt road.
Yep.
And then on down, it turns to asphalt with a regular street.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the county is requiring, and staff may be able to answer this, if we're required to install our new asphalt all the way down to the existing asphalt, or if there's a point at which we'll turn back to maintain dirt road for some distance to the asphalt.
Because there's not a lot of traffic on that road, but if I'm not mistaken, the Emergency Operations Center, is that still there?
It's not used for that.
Not used for that any longer? Okay. But yeah, if you go further in the southeast direction, I guess, before you get to 491, there's a facility there that used to be used.
There's a lot of residential back in that direction there.
Oh, yeah.
In between this highway and the other highway you're referring to.
And it's not really high density, I wouldn't say. There's larger pieces of property back through there.
Yes, sir.
But there is a back way into the Dollar General, I think.
I believe you can come out there at that intersection where the Dollar General sits, I believe so.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about that gap between where you're going to stop and where the asphalt starts. It's going to bottleneck. And I can't imagine people not pulling out and turning that way, because when you come out the main entrance, if that's intended to be the main entrance on 44.
The main entrance will be the one right in front here.
Correct.
This is where all of the majority of the handicap parking and claimant parking, patient parking is.
Yeah.
So they are going to either take sort of the path of least resistance in my mind, where they're going to enter here and here, park, and when they exit, they're going to go right back out the entrance that they came, unless they are specifically trying to cut back through this residential area to get over to the other highway.
But are they going to be able to, when they pull out of the main entrance, turn left, or does it require a right turn and then a U-turn?
A right turn and then a U-turn.
If they want to go to Inverness?
Correct. They will turn out right here. They'll go into this stacking lane.
Right.
And they will either turn across to go to the other street here, and I don't know if this same street name extends to the
Yeah, I
other
can't
side
remember
of
that one.
State Road, or they'll make the U-turn right there in that area.
So, but as far as the entrance on Southern Street, you can turn right or left when you pull out of there.
You will not. There will be and it's hard to see here, there's a triangular divider here in the
Okay.
center of that. So FDOT is requiring a right in here and a right out only.
Only.
They do not want the mixture of folks coming out here and interfering with a cross median cut, where folks are making U-turns and attempting to turn a left turn in if they are eastbound.
My only concern is the potential, once I go there and figure out how to get out of there the easiest, I'm taking Southern Street. And it's going to be a lot of other people going to figure that out too. So maybe staff addresses that in their report, but it needs to be on the radar screen that is a potential concern.
Right.
Not enough to have any real concerns, but it's just something that I wanted to point out to y'all in your capacity as the owner, and then having a professional engineering firm to just take a look at that.
Yep. And we have turned in traffic study, day trip uses and all those things to FDOT. And I believe the county is also has copies of all those with the day trip generation here. you got to remember that because of the size of this facility, the geographic area that it serves, it's going to be serving folks north of Tampa that are going to be using the new road coming up there, you know? And so it's not necessarily centered just in its community around the houses and those little amenities. It's serving a pretty broad area, and it's going to have multiple access routes for those.
It's going to be a busy facility.
It will.
No question. So that's the only thing that kind of sticks in my craw just a little bit is people's access when they leave. Turning in, I think you've addressed that pretty well, and the DOT is going to have certain stipulations, but that potential exit point is something that ought to be looked at.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what y'all have been privy to and what county has been privy to, but with it intersecting an FDOT right-of-way, they have looked closely at this. We originally wanted to modify this entrance. We originally wanted to modify this entrance to allow a larger median cut and to be able to cross and turn left, and FDOT would not allow it. And as we looked at it closer, we do tend to agree with them because it would really need the introduction of another traffic signal, which they don't want to do. And the line of sight is not good to come out and turn left right there. And so that's why they required the right hand only, and they felt that that would be the safest conclusion for that intersection.
Yeah, and close proximity to Homosassa Trail as well. I'm sure it was in their mind because that's signalized there. So, but anyway, that's all I have. That's only.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Chair.
Mr. Barmez.
Since 3 of 4 of my questions have been answered, I only have one question for you, one topic I want to discuss. That's the loading zone area.
Yes, sir.
In your loading zone, I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to have large trucks, semi-trucks, deliveries, oxygen trucks, and
Most will be straight body trucks. There will be very, very few, other than the move-in originally, of 18-wheelers. Because we do not have the ability to turn an 18-wheeler around in that service court.
you're not going to allow 18-wheelers?
They can turn in if they can get out, but primarily, 90% of the time, it's going to be a box truck.
Well, if I'm making delivery, I'm going to get in there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get my money. But that creates a problem in my eyes as, traffic on 44 being right in, right out, making U-turns for truckers that's not familiar with that area. Commissioner Bozeman concern about Southern was one of mine, and I thought that might be a good exit because I thought I read that the county was going to pave that all the way to 491, which would have gave them to a light anyway to get away from there. But can you address that?
Yeah, if there are truck deliveries, and again, VA has contracted regular vendors who will become to know the facility. They're not using different folks because they have government contracts for their supplies. Some of those contractors, and I would say the large majority of them, would use a straight-bodied delivery truck that would have easy maneuverability. But it's not uncommon with a limited access highway such as this for 18-wheelers to make a U-turn. It is 4 lanes in each direction. If they are in that turn lane down on this very eastern end here, they have ample room for the 18-wheeler to make a U-turn and then to use that right end only. And that's one reason why you see the radius cuts here. There will be signs for no truck access in this area. We do not want trucks nor interior. There's not the required radiuses for large trucks to enter. Part of the VA requirement is to always separate service vehicles from their pedestrian vehicles and claimant vehicles. And so that's why you see the very large radius here turning in, allowing that truck to access there, and a very large radius on the right side of this here. Additionally, you see a very small radius on the corner of this here, and we'll have signage here directing them for the 18-wheelers to not turn right there because we don't feel like they should be turning and cutting through the neighborhood when they have very large radiuses here and can come back out to the main highway where they belong.
Do y'all have dining facilities?
No, sir.
Part of this? So
No dining facilities. There's vending machines. in the
okay.
Facility, and that's it.
So you're not going to need a food service truck to stock a kitchen?
No.
And those are
No,
almost
sir.
always 18-wheelers, okay?
No, sir. It'll be gases, and because of their patient schedules are very sort of dictated and consistent throughout the year. They're not getting huge influxes of tanks and oxygen and supplies because they only have a limited amount of storage space inside. So it's not like delivering to a Sam's or a Costco that has in a warehouse space. Those have to be delivered and then immediately dispersed into small storage areas in there, so that delivery, there's no need for an 18-wheeler to come up and unload its entire load or anything.
And my last question is pedestrian buses. What are they going to be able to access? Are you having pedestrian buses?
We have been coordinating with local bus routes and the local bus transportation. We had originally planned for a bus stop to be out at the right-of-way. I believe DOT was fine with that. The county was not, and said that they didn't want it out at the right-of-way there for concerns. And so the bus stop is located right in this area here. I don't know if you can see it. We have plans with it noted on it. But the bus stop is going to be interior to the facility, and they will come and drop off patients and pick patients up, and they will exit, as we had just talked about, out that road to the newly improved road, and they'll have a right turn only. That is an existing public transit path that travels east to west, and all they're doing is coming off of that and then going right back on their current route.
All right, then the end of my questions is, we're going to talk about the cross-access just for a quick second. I know the county engineer said that they are okay with the deviation, but can you explain what you mean by the nature of use and why you feel that this facility shouldn't have a cross-access in the IMA area?
Sure. If you don't mind, I'd like to quote from a letter that was submitted. The VA Medical Center is requesting the cross-access be removed from the plans as it poses a serious safety and security concern for them. Specifically, the inability to control traffic through the site and protect the veterans who will be coming to and from this community-based outpatient clinic. Many of the patients who will be utilizing this CBOC will be in wheelchairs, using walkers, canes, or just have general mobility issues. To open up the site for cross-access to individuals not using the facility and their cars, trucks, whoever understandably may not recognize these limitations and how it affects one's ability to move quickly to get out of the way is a serious safety concern for VA. The VA even cited a situation at another older CBOC where cross-access does exist, and people not using the CBOC but just crossing through have caused accidents and veterans have been harmed.
Perfect, thank you. I just wanted that read for the public.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. No further questions.
Anyone else? Ms. Collins?
Morning. A lot of the questions have been answered already. I was concerned with the traffic, and if you had met with FDOT, which you have, and that's all been discussed. I do have concerns about West Southern Street. So West Southern Street is kind of part of a larger plan for the 491 corridor area, which is in the comprehensive plan, which allows for some mixed use and higher density. So at some point, as things start building out, Southern will become a busier road. So, yeah, if you could complete out more, I don't know, it'd have to be warranted, but I think it is something that needs to be addressed. And it may be a long way out, but I just had a general question about the facility, because I'm not totally familiar with VA clinics and their services. Would they have, do ambulances come there, emergency vehicles?
On occasion. Steve can speak to as far as some of the uses in the facility.
Yeah, I would be interested to learn.
Yeah, it's very limited use on the ambulance. There's basically an ambulance pickup, but it's not for, they're not dropping off there. This is an emergency facility, so it's only in case of an emergency at the facility, and the local hospital has to come and pick them up.
Okay.
Yep.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Yep. Stephen Vanderhyde.
Thank you.
I think everything else has been addressed, so thank you so much. Thanks.
Anyone else? I have a couple. So, you guys ever tried to make a U-turn at the light at 44 and Homosassa Trail? Have you tried to make a U-turn yourself? Let me say in a GMC truck.
at
Right
this
there.
intersection here?
Right there.
I have. on-
And what,
on-
did you make it without running up and over the curb?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
So I go to that light constantly. I live within a mile of that particular area. I've watched a lot of people not make that curb. So when you tell me that an 18-wheeler truck is going to make a U-turn right there, I almost want to laugh and fall out of my chair. I know that that's not going to happen.
Well, FDOT would disagree with you.
I 100% believe that because FDOT does a lot of things that I don't agree with. The mess that they created at Crystal Oaks Boulevard and 589 and this whole entire area right here, it's a disaster.
Right. Well, we do know that the parcel adjacent to us, we attempted to acquire property from them in order to have an entrance here. They would not go for it. It's a church that's on the property. They're not doing anything with it. We spent the better part of 2 years trying to convince them to sell that or a portion of it. We even offered to put in the driveway and allow it for their use, and they refused to. And so when we permitted with FDOT, all we're doing is exactly what they ask us to do. They ask us to do a traffic study on eastbound traffic, westbound traffic, the feeders, the day trips, all those things, and they concluded what you see here is the plan that FDOT is planning to approve for that.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just here to tell you as a resident of this community that intersection is poor. And if you guys care about the veterans that you are trying to bring into the facility, you really need to study, and I suggest that you do something different with access, especially along the that eastern traveling on 44 right there, that you will not get a U-turn and maybe one car at that particular light right there. It's just not wide enough. And then as far as accessing off of the adjacent property, that kind of sounds like cross-access to me. You know, if you're trying to purchase another piece of property or a portion of it, that's cross-access. So in my opinion, cross-access is important. I don't agree with the deviation. I won't vote in favor of it. You guys have a blank slate here that you can design. Cross-access doesn't mean that they're driving through your parking lot. Cross-access just means at some point on that particular property, you need to provide access to the adjacent commercial properties. And I think it's very important in Citrus County right now because you can see the areas up in the Lecanto area. We've been beating cross-access, not recently because mostly everybody understands it now, but 10 years ago, cross-access was highly contested in a heated debate. Now, people that drive around in this county that understand and utilize these cross-access ways understand how important that they are. So I believe that you can design this 13 acres parcel, right? Is that what it is?
13 acres, not 13 acres usable.
Right. So 13-acre parcel, there's definitely plenty of room to create some cross-access.
When you say cross-access, do you mean the ability for someone to turn and come through this property and access this currently unimproved street that we're going to be?
No, sir. We just mean to be able to access the adjacent properties. You've got a GNC property to the east that at some point is going to be developed.
This one here?
Correct. And it would just be some sort of stub out. And there's nothing there now. So all you're going to be required to do, and I'm speaking out of turn, but I've seen enough of them to know what they require. They just require a stub out, cross access. It can be on the outside of your fence, just something where if somebody is in your particular property and they build a church there and then they want to go to service or whatever, and then they're going to go to the VA clinic after or before, they don't have to pull out onto Highway 44, which we all know that this particular intersection is crazy. They can just kind of pull in, and it's just like any other cross accesses that you would see on a highly commercialized area where you don't have to get out onto the main road. It just keeps you from having to go out there darting in and out of traffic.
Sure, understood. The property adjacent to us is the one that has the alignment with that intersection, and it is currently set up for a future stub out to go into this property adjacent to us, but we don't own it. This is also a wetland area in the bottom here, and it would take extensive permitting to mitigate that. That's why our detention pond is located down here, and our stormwater quality then flows out and is treated and goes into this area. It is, from a cross-access easement, probably one of the worst locations that one could be placed because of the wetland area and all those things. If we did introduce that in some fashion, folks could still come through here And it wouldn't mean that they would not attempt to cut through this parking lot. And when you talk about safety of somebody coming out and using this cross access area, to me, it's much more dangerous to have dozens of veterans in wheelchairs and walkers having non-clinical use traffic coming through than it would be for somebody to simply turn out at this intersection and use it because it is signalized. When this one gets developed, they'll be able to turn right, left, or go straight at that intersection.
Yeah, so where you put your cross access is up to the design. You would put it where it's best for you, but utilizing the cross access is what's best for the community, in my opinion. I like your plan. I just think it's in a terrible location. If you want my honest opinion, the access is not good. That particular corner right there, where the road, people, the amount of traffic and the amount of speed that they come, there really needs to be a lot of signage. We can't speak to FDOT. I mean, they're going to do what they do, but just as a resident, it's just a poor access area right there. It's highly, highly congested. To expect somebody to create and make a U-turn at that light at Homosassa Trail right there is almost taking your life into your hands, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you, but we're between a rock and a hard place between what FDOT is dictating that we do within their right-of-way and the access across their right-of-way and getting into this site physically. And so y'all are telling us that you want one thing, and FDOT is requiring that we do something else, and we can't satisfy both of you.
I understand.
We've done the best thing we can do in adhering to their requirements by doing these traffic studies, day trips, number of patients seen, number of employees, when the employees arrive, when the employees depart. I mean, we've done it all. And what you see here is a result of all of those engineering studies.
Yeah, so what I think would be best would probably be we had some public input earlier before the meeting started is some signage. We need to try and create a situation where the least amount of U-turns for this particular property are created. We cannot expect that a U-turn to be the way or one of the main ways for people to come into that main access right there. That's very, very dangerous.
Would you
Signage.
do it at the risk of harming veterans that are parking in all these handicapped spaces and trying to access this site? And keep in mind that as part of the VA requirement, the entire parking facility can only slope to a certain percentage to facilitate wheelchairs and all those things. So this site has been designed specifically. You won't see it like a Walmart or a Costco where there is a huge topo difference, these dips up and down. This parking lot is almost flat all the way across it, which also will allow folks to gain higher speeds and all those things. I don't want to jeopardize the veterans who are going to be using this facility to facilitate a cross access when we've got 1,200 feet up the road. They can just drive out on the major highway and make a turn. I think it's putting too many people at risk daily to achieve something that could be achieved out on the major thoroughfare in front of the facility. And we're not talking about traveling for miles to get cross access to something. This is a relatively small site when you're thinking about cross access. And then when people do cross access, where are they going? Why would they turn and cut through all of this parking area to get out here on this newly improved road when they could simply drive down the highway and turn and not have to navigate through all of this?
I agree with that, and you've sold me on how much more important Southern Street is now, because I don't disagree with your comments about cross-access. That is a kind of a goofy spot to try to put one with the wetlands and the retention area. I would not be a big fan of having people driving through to access when there's people in wheelchairs, and like you said, I think those are very valid points, but it just really highlights the importance of Southern Street in my mind. It really does. And I know I don't think you're on the hook for that, but the county's going to have to address that somehow, some way. Me personally, coming from my house, I'm coming down Southern Street to access that entrance there. And when I go home, I'm leaving to go that way. And if you think about the demographics of where a lot of veterans that live in this area are gonna come from, they're gonna come that same way. They're gonna find out about that, buddy, it's gonna be a highway coming through there. That's a
And I
concern
would
for
not
the county.
disagree.
I know you're over there like this, but.
I would add to that, that because of the road to the west and all of the people coming from the Tampa region and people coming from the Tampa VA medical complex, they're gonna learn very quickly to take the newly improved median cut that we're gonna be installing onto Southern instead of going down and doing that U-turn.
Because they're gonna be coming up the Suncoast Parkway, which is
Correct.
west of this property.
Correct.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, hang on. I was just, you went back to cross-access, and I was still talking about the U-turn and trying to do everything that we can do to mitigate that U-turn. So when you talk to FDOT, that eastbound traffic coming in that you're trying to get to access that new cut that you're putting in there, or the modified cut, are you allowed to put signage? Is there going to be like signage up on the eastbound traffic lane of 44 that says VA clinic access this?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So I think that's highly, highly important.
And I'm sorry for not mentioning that, but yes, well before you get to that improved, longer stacking turn that we're gonna be introducing there, it is gonna direct everybody they can that is eastbound to take that turn.
Yeah, it's the eastbound traffic that's the one that's going to be the most danger point at that Homosassa Trail light right there.
Understood. Yes, sir.
So what you're saying is the Southern Street entrance is going to be heavily signed to encourage eastbound traffic to turn in there to access the facility.
Correct.
Good idea, because I agree with you 100%. That U-turn down there, I've got a Tahoe, I can make it, but my Dodge 2500 diesel truck up over the curb, over the sidewalk to make that.
Yeah, well, so also what happens is when you're out driving around in all these areas, and to your point with Southern Street, Google Maps, Apple Maps, like this is what people are following to get to these areas. Now you can drive some areas that will take you to the turnpike, and you're driving down literal farm roads in Bushnell that used to never have traffic on them because now they're cut throughs, and it's turning into a highway because people have all these Google Maps. So what would be important to me and what would be important to your clientele would be to make sure that when you get this facility created, that somebody goes on Google Maps, because I'm a Google Map contributor. You can create access points on there and let people know that for that eastbound traffic, you turn right here at this light or at this median cut. And I think that will help alleviate as much signage and as big as signage as possible, whatever the FDOT will allow, the maximum you need to let them know for that eastbound traffic.
Is there a way for staff to help or assist with the county's position on the importance of that eastbound left turn in? That all we can do with FDOT is to go to them and say, we really want to do X, we really want to do X, but they could give us 50 reasons why not. So is there anything that from a county or staff level that can be done to persuade?
I would say we'll wait until the staff presentation. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions, and then now they know that the question is on the table. I would like to just say that it seems to me FDOT is a lot of times reactive. So if we can all put in our word to kind of help them be a little bit more proactive with this, and maybe they get an opportunity to watch this meeting, or maybe you guys say, hey, the PDC, these guys are the boots on the ground people, really beat it home, and maybe and our commissioners even, they'll listen to this, and they'll hopefully they have some FDOT contacts, and we can really kind of be a little proactive. That's the best word I can say right there. I know Mr. Scherer had a question.
I just have a quick question. Have you been part of any discussion with either the county or the state, and I think it would be the county, regarding West Southern Street and improving West Southern Street to the, I guess in this case it'd be the north and the west, or north and the east, all the way to 491?
We have not. It was always been our understanding that it would be improved to a length that they felt adequate along our property line at the most, or to the asphalt area. And forgive me for my ignorance, but if you see the hatched area again here where this stops, I'm not sure that is where the existing asphalt continues and picks up, or if it's on down
It's
at
not,
the end of the property.
Yeah, just from a site visit, it is not. Okay, I'm just going to leave that as an open question. We'll come back and ask staff about that as well, but
Yeah, and these are staff recommendations for the improvement length and all those things, so we're just trying to adhere to it.
I mean,
One thing we did do was to give a right-of-way completely on our land. At a point in time, through our civil engineers, and I believe it was a miscommunication with staff, we were unaware that there were also plans to take an additional, for future use, an additional amount of right-of-way on the other side of that road from the other property owners. And trying to get all of the elevations that I'd mentioned on the parking, get everything as flat as possible. It doesn't look like it, but from a grading standpoint, it's very tight in this area and trying to get things graded back down. And so we felt it was unfair for us to give all of the right-of-way for an improvement of the road when both sides of the road were going to be benefiting from it. But it's now our understanding, I think, from staff that if there is a future expansion of this or widening of it, that there will be a remainder of the right-of-way taken from the other side of the road also.
One more quick thing. When you presented the plans to FDOT, was it your thought to do the U-turn, or was it their thought to do the U-turn at Homosassa Trail to access that center main access point?
They, as I recall from our engineers, they wanted to try to utilize both, but the U-turn down there was their obvious choice, and that's when they recommended to us that we do the traffic studies, the day trips, and all those things. And that's when they came back to us and said, you're going to have to modify this median cut up at the other end. The median cut up at the other end, they say, is a problem and has been a problem. Had it at one time in their budget to correct that because they did not like it and they said they don't meet current standards with it. When they saw us coming along and developing this site, they all of a sudden sort of switched it to us and said, we're going to make you do this now.
Of course.
They took it off their budget.
Of course.
And so through a conglomeration of the engineering study, the traffic engineering and all those things, they remained steadfast that those two cuts would be used in some fashion to access the site.
so what is the patient, oh, I'm sorry.
No, the cut at Southern's been there for a long time because that was an access point to the flea market that used to be there. So that's been there for a while. And it's, to extend for stacking is obviously a necessary thing because when you pull out of there, you're right, you can only turn right. Now, if you want to get a ticket, you can turn left, but it is only to the right, and it's always only been to the right, if I'm not mistaken. Take another look at Southern Street. I mean, you're not obligated to do it. Denise, don't yell at me. But it would be very beneficial to the community.
Yep.
And to the people leaving and coming to that facility, which is going to get a lot of use. And I'm excited to see it. We need it.
Yeah, and it has been, as y'all can imagine, a long, arduous road with FDOT. They have continued to change their stance and to modify and tweak things in the 11th hour that they have asked of us. I don't know that they fully understand this board's position on this. They've taken an approach of just looking purely at numbers and that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, we want what y'all want. We want the facility to be accessed easily and for there not, we don't want folks to have to do a U-turn down at that intersection, but so far that's been, FDOT is sort of the Bible and says you will do X, and so we've just been trying to oblige them and do what they
You can't prevent somebody from driving down there and doing a U-turn, but to encourage that is not a good idea. To encourage the use of the entrance on Southern, if you're traveling to the east, is good, and to leave the facility rather than doing a U-turn, another U-turn, go back out that way. It's going to get used a lot.
We have preached that to them, and we had a call with their staff. They turned us down. We asked that they went to their bosses, and we appealed it, and they turned us down. And so it has been a brick wall, that intersection that we're discussing.
What is your projected head count or population? How many people will work at this facility and how many people will come in and out each day?
Yeah, it'll be roughly, I'd say 150 people that'll work at the facility full-time. I guess Number of patients seen, when it's all fully operational, I'd say anywhere between 800 and 1,000 in a given day.
A day.
Yes.
Wow.
We'll turn around. Yep.
That's high traffic flow.
Yep.
Okay.
The public transit helps with that, and you can see we have a lot of parking, but public transit really does help with that because of the nature of the veterans and their inability to access and drive themselves. So that does help with some of the day trip activity, but it's a large volume strung out over a period during the day.
Thanks.
I just have one comment. You brought up, and I'm going to bring back cross-access because you were talking about the safety of the veterans, wheelchairs, et cetera. I'm the president of the Elks organization. I probably have 750 Inverness veterans that will be attending these facilities. I don't want them to think that you are pointed them out as being wheelchair safety taken away. The reason cross-access is provided is for the safety of these people. Not only those people, but for me, that's perfectly capable. So I don't want people to think that, oh, we're not doing it because of your comment of veterans in wheelchairs, handicapped walkers, et cetera. I just want to make, I think cross-access is a safety feature that's been removed for whatever reason. I'm going to ask the same questions to the county, and I would like the engineers to be here that made that decision, but obviously I don't see them. But I think it's very important. It's not just about the veterans that's going to the facilities. It's about the neighbors and our groups and other groups that carry these veterans to the VA every single day. So it's not just veterans' safety that we're looking out after. I just wanted to get that on the record.
Yeah.
Southern Street's gonna be your cross-access. 491.
Hang on one second. Hang on.
Sorry, David.
If you're going to talk, you need to talk into the mic, and also Mr. Stone has the floor.
Maybe I missed this earlier in your presentation, but the reason the big main southern entrance to your facility is not part of a major interchange right there, which with turning lanes and could go in all directions. Why is that?
We were told by FDOT that the main entrance that you see that would line up with the center of the facility, is that the one you're talking about right here?
That one, correct.
That we cannot introduce another cut here because there is the light signal down here and there is this existing median here.
Okay, well, the one to the west seems fairly easy to eliminate. The one to the east, with a linked signal to the new signal at the southern entrance, takes care of all stacking problems and backing up in that interchange. It seems to me you guys need more. Seems to me you guys need more political pull to solve that problem, because I don't think your solution on the U-turn at the east end of this is for a major facility is very viable. And
we don't disagree with you, and that for some reason FDOT was concerned about the number of cars stacking westerly that would turn onto this street across the other side of the right-of-way there. We asked when we were in negotiations with them, can we just completely eliminate this curb cut? Can we just have a right-in, right-out as shown now? And can we introduce another curb cut here, a median cut that would align directly with that entrance? And we were told no. We talked about all sorts of things with them to mitigate exactly what y'all are talking about here. And we have been bound to, since all those negotiations have occurred, to conform to what they have asked us to conform to in order to get the project permitted.
Yeah. Okay, is anybody else on the board? One thing I'd say while I still have you up in front, and we're still talking about cross-access, because the access to this particular facility is going to be the most important, especially since you just said 1,000 people a day, and there's not a lot of transit here, so we can't expect transit to alleviate a lot of that traffic. Just so you know, I mean, we have some blue line buses that run around. They're very few. Most of this is going to be cars. People are going to be in vehicles, traveling, trying to get into this facility, which is already at a highly congested area on a curve that's terrible on a main highway. a state road. But that cross-access, let's just think ahead a little bit. That GNC property that is to the east of your property, which aligns, because you guys have it aligned, where the 44, but actually it goes like this. That the east line is actually perpendicular to 44. Whoever develops that particular property in the future is going to have an entrance, if they're thinking properly, at that light. That light on 44 is going to be a left turn in right there. That's your cross access. You have got to design this particular property to create cross access in the area that you don't want it. I understand what's happening with the topography and all of that and the mitigation. Everybody tries to design them the same way. But where you're going to alleviate that U-turn right there is when that property develops, and it's going to develop eventually. You're talking about 40 years. I promise you it'll develop before then. That light right there turning left, that's your cross access. It's going to alleviate that entire U-turn situation right there. So however you guys need to design it, you're going to need to sharpen your pencils. And I think when people understand the word or hear the word cross access, they think, we just want you to cut through your parking lot. That's not always what it means. Cross access means like put a service road in. You drive up in Tallahassee, up off Highway 19. It's called Appalachian Parkway up there. There's service roads literally in front of all those properties. This particular area, put a service road. I think that you're going to have enough traffic there, and the clientele warrants it, that you're trying to keep them safe and create a safe traffic flow and pattern to maybe give up a little bit more of your property. You told me 13 acres, but not all of it's going to be developed.
Not all of it is usable because of the areas where there are protected trees. Those areas are this large blank area you see here that is covered with live oaks, and so we cannot get into that. We have to tie grades down to this parking. The parking has to be calculated from a slope standpoint from its furthest point away from the front door to it, and from this front door all the way out to this corner. We cannot locate the detention pond in another area because its discharges directly into this creek here. And so our property ends right at this point. And we had an ALTA survey conducted, and so the property lines that you see here are accurate for the property that we own. But our property does not go far enough to encapsulate or to provide any sort of entrance into that existing cut there in that intersection. We wish it did, but it doesn't. And the adjacent property owner is completely unwilling to cooperate for that crosscut.
I understand.
Access.
And I would just like to also, the only cross access we're talking about is that particular property. Right? Because Southern Street, there's a road. You don't have to create cross access across the road. Like you already have access to Southern Street.
The
right?
one we're improving?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Does anybody else have any question on the board?
Can I add 2 cents?
Yes, ma'am.
So just understand, cross access, you just have to provide it. You get the first cross access, and then when the neighbor develops, they're going to have to tie into it if they want to develop. So it doesn't necessarily have to be there right at that corner. And I realize it's all in the design. You could do cross access a little further north. Am I going right? Yes. And eventually, when they design, they would have to design their project so that it ties into that. But it's all in the design.
If y'all
just
are
my 2
saying
cents.
And I hear you. If y'all are saying that we need to stub something out across here to the property line and go further north, and to allow that process in this area so they could come out and then use some future drive to get to that, we're perfectly fine with that. We just can't.
Okay, and we can do this.
We can't control when or how this other easement, this other access
Understood.
drive gets in, and I'm sorry for miscommunication.
Yeah, right.
I thought y'all were saying that we have got to install now something that'll get us in and out there.
No,
Yeah.
providing a stub out,
Yeah.
We can do
a
a
cross-access agreement,
We can
and
do a
then when
stub
they
out
develop.
in this area right in here that would go right to the property line and stop, that if y'all would require them to, they could connect to in the future.
Okay,
They have to connect.
We would require.
they won't get a permit.
I think cross access gets a little muddy because people think it always needs to be at the front of the property lines. It needs to be where it makes the most sense and where it makes the most sense to make cross-access the most accessible.
Okay.
And that particular
Sorry for
light
my
right there, if you
misunderstood
create
that.
cross-access, that almost is a perfect spot. Somebody's gonna park, they can pull in, the people that are there, they can pull out, there's a light.
And it creates, it eliminates my concern of what I said about folks cutting through our parking lot, because it's not easy to, it's not gonna be just a straight shot route where they're trying to run right through where all the handicapped folks are parked there.
Correct.
But it does give us access back to that future driveway to the signalized intersection, and eliminates the U-turn that you're concerned about.
Yes, sir. Perfect. I love it when a plan comes together. Do we have any other questions? I'd like to take a 10-minute recess.
After all that.
Thank you all.
adverse
It's right
conditions.
there.
Doesn't have
Be able to connect up with that cross-access. First
Okay,
one,
now try it. Now go to 10. Try to open it.
you understand what I'm saying? No. So, if you create, because you're first in it. So,
Let me in here to get on the internet.
Yeah, it rings in my ears and I had a shock.
I might be in trouble
See, I've
too.
lost mine.
Next door neighbor has a.
All righty.
I can't get in.
They can operate now.
Ready for staff, right?
I just want to make sure that before we actually open for staff, is there any more comments or questions from the board now that we've stepped away and come back?
No, sir.
Nobody has anything? No? Okay, thank you.
And as Ms. Morris comes forward, just a couple comments quickly on their presentation. Clarify staff does not support the 2 deviations that are being requested on facade or cross-access. I think y'all made clear cross-access. Thank you for finally, I wanted to jump in, but I can't during those comments. It doesn't have to be in the front. They have a long property line that they have possibilities for stub outs, and we finally got to that, so thank you. When we come up on facade on the pictures, I might jump in again on her presentation on that one.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning, Melissa Morris, planner. I'm going to be presenting the county's first IMA application. So this is all brand new. Any new project in the IMA must change their zoning and also must come forward with a PUD, so that is why we're here today. As the applicant stated, this has been a long time coming. I think I did the first pre-application meeting on this in 2023. So this was all done before the 44 IMA was adopted, before, standards were included. And this is also being permitted concurrently, so this is running through permitting at the same time as it's coming through, the PUD and the zoning change process. So there are some inaccuracies in the staff report only because of the permitting and that things are changing rapidly on this application. So hopefully I can give you guys the best picture of what's going on. And we'll get started. So this is the facade of the building. It is metal, but it's designed to not to look like metal. So I don't know if you had any questions on the facade. I can kind of stop here.
Yeah, if you can stop. Right in that picture, I heard the applicant say it's going to be warm wood, and it doesn't appear warm wood in this picture. There's some great examples in their packet about it does look kind of warm wood. This does not. So I think a clarification instead of saying, I know the condition says perhaps can't be prefabricated metal panels. We need to clarify this should not look like wood. It should not look like metal panels, which it looks like if you zoom in, I can't really see it as clear here, but in my packet it looks like corrugated metal panels, and we just want to make sure that's clarified. He said warm wood, and according to Mr. Bozeman, that product can do that, so maybe just clarify the condition a little bit so it doesn't look like this picture.
That looks like wood to me.
No.
I'm not sure I understand.
Sometimes it looks like wood, and then from a distance it looks like metal. It's just a clarification, okay? If it's going to be wood, great. Let's clarify it doesn't have a metallic appearance, and then we're good.
As a quick question, the report, I can't get my tablet open in this moment, but my notes is that the report said no exposed metal not allowed. And that's why I asked the question, in their presentation, they said it's covered with a PVDF. I don't know exactly what that is. I'm assuming it's some type of polyvinyl chloride covering.
That's where my confusion was too. Is it wood? Is it metal? We just made to clarify the condition a little bit that it doesn't have a metallic appearance. Most likely, that as they're describing it, that kind of whatever PV thing meets it. But I just want to clarify for conditions, it doesn't have a metallic panel appearance.
Okay, so the fact that it's covered, that box would be checked. It's just what is the appearance?
Yes. It doesn't appear to have a metallic appearance, hopefully, as long as we put that in here.
But it is metal.
It can be metal as long as it doesn't have you can use metal as a base. I did have somebody in permitting ask me, well, the VA is doing metal, so we want metal. It's like, no. I'm not saying the VA is doing metal. They can do metal as a base, but it can't give that appearance, the metal panels. And I think if we just clarify that condition a little bit, instead of metal facade must have an appearance other than prefabricated metal panels, just facade must have an appearance other than metal panels, and we've covered it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Melissa, I'm just hijacking your whole presentation.
That's
aren't I?
okay. So this is an aerial view of the subject property. This is the only part, oh, this thing doesn't want to work today, does it? All right, I'm gonna move on. This is looking north on Southern Street. The property to the left is a residence. There is a large natural buffer there, and a lot of that is proposed to be kept. This is a little closer view of the residence across Southern Street. And this is the site plan that the applicant has submitted. Let's see if I can get this to work.
I think on this one.
You got to point kind of this way.
He was pointing it like way over that
Way
way.
over there.
Yeah, she was doing a flicker.
Okay.
Anyway, all right.
Top button.
All right, top button also.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. All right, we got it now. All right, so this is where a lot of the natural vegetation is proposed to be kept. We had a meeting, Teams meeting the other day, and right along here is the portion that would need to buffer against residential. Land Development Code standards prior to the adoption were a type D with a wall. 44 IMA asks for a C with a wall. The applicant is proposing a type C with a vinyl fence. And in this area right here, they are proposing to keep some natural vegetation as well. So I think it will do a very good job of buffering. This is also the site plan that you've already seen. Let's see, where was I? So the requested deviations are a fence in lieu of a wall. They've asked for a deviation with cross access, but I think that maybe has been clarified a little bit at this meeting. The metal siding, again, it can't look like metal, so as long as it's metal that doesn't appear to be metal, I think we're good there. So I'd just like to surmise and say that, you know, it's a great project. It's in a location that encourages the use, and it also is compatible with the surrounding areas. So that's all I have if you have questions for me.
Questions of the applicant for staff?
From the applicant.
Questions from the applicant for the staff?
Yeah, I had one.
Please step to the mic.
I had one clarification, and forgive me if I misunderstood this, but in the suggested conditions of the application is recommended for approval, under the 4, cross-access will not be required. This deviation has been approved by the county's engineer. I didn't know if that was, since we're agreeing to do some form now, was it approved as a deviation by the county's engineer, or do y'all just take that under recommendation and that you can?
Yeah, the county engineer can't do that. I'm sorry. Go
May
ahead.
I? The county engineer has no authority to waive the law, so he had no authority to say that he approved waiving the requirement for cross-access, so that is not correct.
4 is incorrect.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect.
So based on the comments, I think the condition when it said, say, cross-access must be provided to the east, which is
Okay.
per our code.
That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Questions for staff of the board? From the board.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Scherer?
can you go back to your aerial photograph? Okay. I'm not going to go back over all the ground we've walked over here, but just for clarification, there is for me, there's a traffic signal at Homosassa Trail in 44, correct? And there is not another traffic signal from there up to the property.
No, that's the only one near the
Okay.
property.
And when we were talking about the other parcel adjacent to this parcel, that would be that wooded parcel that we see right there.
Yeah, this parcel here?
Right there.
Correct.
Okay. And is there a provision already, do you know, is there a provision already that if you go through that traffic signal, that there could also be a provision to go straight into that property in the future, that wooded property?
Would be a technical services question. I'm
Okay,
not comfortable.
fair enough. I'm just trying to get my bearings there. Does anybody?
It would be a design up to them. They'd have to work with FTOT. Obviously, if there's a traffic light, yeah, that makes a heck of a lot of sense to go straight in, but it's going to be a design for whatever comes there.
Okay.
And it depends how much frontage they have too,
Yeah.
on where they're,
And
how many entrances.
Compared to the other traffic light back down by racetrack and.
Well, it's one lot, but they could subdivide, and who knows what's going to be
No,
there.
what I was saying is there should be, but they have to also meet the test of the previous light. And, you know, what is the distance between traffic signals and what you can do? But maybe, that's beyond my pay grade.
There's a lot of requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you the other question. Keep going in your slide and show the West Southern Street, please. This is a county road, correct?
Correct.
And the report says this county road has to be improved, or will be improved, as I recall reading in the report.
Yeah, Technical Services has worked out with them to improve the road to a certain point. I'm not sure what Tech Services worked out. I can show you that, let's see. Right along here, they have taken a 40-foot right-of-way. So I know the property will be, or the road will be improved at least to their entrance, but there is a 40-foot right-of-way that they have given to the county to the end of their property line.
Okay, they, in this case, is
The applicant.
the applicant. Any idea what the width of that road would be?
I'm sorry, we'd
Would
have
be
to
or is?
Well, it is right now, it's a lane. It's a path.
You said, do you know how wide it is right now? You said they were adding 40 feet.
They've taken a 40-foot easement from this property.
Right, but how wide is Southern right now? Do we know?
I do not know. It might be in my staff report.
What? It looks really narrow in the picture. of
It
course.
does.
So in this case, the applicant has offered 40-foot of right-of-way on the remainder of their property that could be used to potentially improve West Southern Street.
Correct.
That was the purpose, yeah.
And then beyond that property, you get into other landowners. Do we have any idea what the width of the county right-of-way is, if you will, to the north and east of their property?
The county's not trying to widen Southern at this time, so
I get that.
they haven't gone in and taken anything there. So, it would be whatever the width is right here. I don't think it gets wider farther down. I think it continues this narrow, and unfortunately, Joe's trying to measure it now on the GIS, but
Yeah, it's approximately 40 feet wide right now.
It's a 40-foot
That's the
right-of-way.
existing, I'm sorry,
Yep.
existing right away.
existing,
That's-
right? We're trying to make it wider and then improve it, but it's not being done right now.
I mean, clearly the conversation today, which is just conversation, is if people can find a back way into something,
Yes.
they will find a back way.
Agreed. And like many roads in our county, it needs to be looked at and possibly improved upon, yes.
Okay. All right. Can you go forward another slide, please? Or go backwards?
Go backwards? Sure.
Yep. Okay, this particular, one more. There you go. You're just showing private property at that point.
Yes. This is the only residence that, abuts on the other side of Southern Street to the project property.
Okay, great. All right, now unfortunately, I just had my tablet failed, so I can't scroll through my tablet. Can you go to the portion of your report which lists the conditions?
I can. The report is not in the PowerPoint, but I have it right here.
Tell you what, I'll share with a colleague
Okay, I was
here.
gonna say I could carry it up.
All right, I'm good for the moment, thank you. Mr. Chair, I'm fine.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking more questions regarding the conditions, and then I was reading them.
Right. So we're proposing condition 4, change with the cross-access. Condition 5 for parking, it really should say parking may be located in the front. That is a deviation from the code. They're planning on doing front parking, which is okay. It's not shall. We're not going to require them to deviate. And then condition number 6 would be facade must have an appearance other than metal panels. I also heard her say the west side on Southern, they want a type C with a vinyl fence instead of a wall. It's not a condition here, but it would need to be because it's a deviation. So we'd need to add that one as another condition.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Mr. Bozeman?
Right away that exists, you said it's 40 feet wide, correct?
Approximately, according to GIS, yes, it's 40 feet wide.
And that
right away to
extends,
Southern.
and would that extend all the way from 44 through to 491 at 40 feet, the entire length, or do we know?
Didn't measure all the way, but then look, it gets big.
Yeah, I didn't measure all the way. It does seem like it gets wider where it's paved, but I didn't measure it.
Yes.
Looks like it gets wider in front of the church.
Yeah, I mean, when you drive down that road, it clearly gets wider once you come out, get off the pig path. But did anybody take a measurement on where the proposed improved that they're going to propose to do? how far it would be to tie back into what's already existing is wider in asphalt?
Our code currently doesn't have something where we can require them to do that. We're working on that, and we'll talk about that at the end of the meeting outside of this application. But right now, our code will require them to improve it up to their access point, but not beyond.
Not beyond? Well, we could ask them to.
Absolutely, you can ask
Okay.
for anything, but it's not in our code.
No, I understand that. I just was trying to lay the groundwork for a 40-foot right-of-way should be adequate for a two-lane road if that's what they require, allowing for some sort of swales on either side or where it would be required. Is that's more of a technical services question, though?
Yeah, 40 foot's kind of narrow.
It's kinda narrow.
It's usually 50, 60, somewhere in there,
50s.
probably 60 because this isn't curb and gutter, so yeah.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Anyone else? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, before you leave, could you put up that one fund?
I already said anyone else. I'm just kidding. Mr. Scherer, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just want to leave it there. That's all. Thank you.
In the interest of saving time, I'm going to say there is no public comment because there's nobody here.
Other than
So,
the applicant, correct.
I'm going to bring it back to the board for discussions and motions.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. Facemeyer.
this is a much-needed facility for Citrus County and the region. I do plan to support this application. I think we've discussed at length the challenges of this property, including cross-access and traffic congestion. That intersection, anybody in this room and anybody watching knows if today that intersection at Homosassa Trail is a challenge. It's only going to get worse, probably before the end of the month or the end of the week. Hopefully, this application will trigger influential people in the State House and the courthouse to reconfigure that intersection that hopefully would lead to traffic relief for this property and others. But I do plan to support this application.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Mr. Stone.
I too think this is a great project. It's something that's very highly desirable for our county. But that U-turn access at Homosassa Trail is terrible. It's a terrible idea, but with as much estimated traffic is going to be going to this facility, I think it shouldn't even be a remote consideration. We ought to put a no U-turn sign there and put a full-blown interchange down at Southern and close off that proposed entrance, I suppose the grand entrance, into the property in the middle of the south side. So while I really support the project, I'm going to vote against it as long as it's got that U-turn facility at Homosassa Trail.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes. Mr. Bozeman.
I also plan to fully support it. Given the concerns about the U-turn, those are viable concerns. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but I think the applicant has shown acknowledgement of it being a problem. I know all of us have. I think the Southern Street, although it can't be mandated, but in the cross-access, I believe, has been resolved, if I'm not mistaken, that there's been an agreement to that, so that's good. If there were some way that we could, and there is a way, figure out how to do something with Southern Street, it needs to be done. It really does. And but I do plan to support the project.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barmez.
Can you, staff, can you address the verbiage on your new conditions as far as what you rewrote there for the?
Right, okay, so condition 4 would change to cross-access must be provided to the east, as outlined in the Land Development Code, was that provision. Condition 5, the word shall would change to may. Parking may be located in front of the building as depicted on the site plan. Condition 6 would be facade must have an appearance other than metal panels. And then the buffer condition, which is condition 9, instead of as per the land development code, however, a type C buffer may be installed along Southern Street with a vinyl fence because that would mandate a wall instead. Got everything?
All right, thank you. No, I too agree that this project is overdue, should have been here a few years ago, to provide the services that they do and then some, the additional services that they're going to provide. So I too would be in favor for it. And Mr. Chairman, for the purpose of a motion. Planning and Development Commission finds application number CPA-AA-PUD-2025-00011 consistent with the Citrus County Comprehensive Plan and Citrus County Land Development Code, and this board recommends approval with the conditions and the additions of the conditions that was just read of the application to the Board of County Commissioners based on the evidence and testimony presented and the staff report and the conclusions regarding this petition.
I'll second it.
We have a first in favor by Mr. Barmes and a second by Mr. Scherer. Is there any additional discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Scherer?
I'm going to vote for this. I support the VA clinic. I am really concerned about this issue with traffic. I think about the people who go to VA clinics in our area, many of them older, if not elderly. I think about the driving skills. I think about the challenges with the U-turn. This is a solvable problem, not by the PDC, but by some combination of the applicant, county, and the state. It's got to be solved. I cringe thinking about people coming east on 44 making a U-turn at Homosassa Trail. Don't think it can be done. I am going to vote for this on the basis of the underlying strength of the VA clinic with the hope and the prayer that we solve this issue related to traffic in addition to the cross-access. It must be solved. I don't see any reason that of a clinic of this nature, of this type and importance, that between the influence of the county, our state representatives, and others, that they can't put their heads together and solve a problem.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Collins?
Yeah, I also support this is a great project for our county and our cities as well. But I also have concerns about the traffic, and I realize that FDOT has separation standards between full cuts and lights. But from a safety issue, they could put a second light with a full cut where they work simultaneous. They work together. The two lights work together. It could be done. So I don't know if the county can do anything to contact FDOT. I don't know if BOCC can. I'm stepping out of my line here, but write a letter or something to advise them of our concerns. But otherwise, I'm supportive of the project.
Okay, thank you. I would just say that I'm in support of the project, but I'm, along with Mr. Stone, I'm going to vote against it. And the only reason I'm going to vote against it is because I want it to be brought to the attention of the people that can do different or have a little bit more power than we do at this board. I support your project. I don't support the access that's created right now. Something needs to be done. I hope that whoever gets the opportunity to watch this can understand, really go out there, drive the road in front of it, put your heads together, put something together with a better plan for access. With that said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes.
And so this application is scheduled for the Board of County Commissioners on March 10th at 5:01, and we will be conveying the comments of the PDC to our technical services and to the Board of County Commissioners that there's concern about traffic and U-turn. That will certainly be not something we're overlooking when we do speak with them. And that's it for that. You ready?
Yeah, staff
Want me to keep going?
announcements.
Okay, all right. A couple things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Landon too. So your next hearings on February 19th, we have 3 applications. Just a warning again, I think I've told you a few times, March 5th, we have 3 applications at the moment. We may have just 2, but that is the Deltona application that has had quite a lot of news coverage. So that's March 5th. I do think that might be a lengthy application hearing date. March 19th, 2 applications. April 2nd, 4 applications. it's not stopping. So the days of getting to skip meetings are over. We are starting to get coverage on this here of this group in the Chronicle. Right or wrong, they're not here. I don't think they're watching the meetings because they attributed something Mr. Bramlett said to me. So just, they're not speaking to us. So if you see something in there that PDC said something, they're not talking to us. So I'm not very sure that that actually is what's happened, unfortunately. We talked a lot about concurrency. I heard a lot of FDOT bashing. Frankly, I don't know if I agree with all of that, but go ahead.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, still morning. Eric, congratulations, Chair.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulate you.
Yeah. So I was in a meeting. I was in a meeting with the FDOT secretary yesterday, along with the chairman of our BOCC, and on a separate topic. I feel that FDOT is a friend of Citrus County, so they have some exciting proposals for us moving forward. So I see them as a collaborative partner. When this moves forward to the BOCC, I feel like the board will do everything possible to make it the best end product. So I just wanted to make it clear that FDOT is a friend of ours, and they're working together with us. And they went way out of their way in our meeting yesterday to accommodate us on a special need that we had. So there'll be more to come on that. But I just want to make it clear that our relationship with FDOT is great from what I've seen, and I think they're willing to help whenever we have a problem. We had a couple large problems yesterday, and they jumped right in and gave us solutions. So excited about that moving forward.
And we'll bring your comments to them, or actually technical services will, not me and Mr. Landon, but we'll do that.
Perfect. I love to hear it. Anything else?
I would just say, on that same vein, just remember that the Board of County Commissioners, while these applications are pending, it's quasi-judicial, so they don't have conversations outside of their meeting. So perhaps the political side of things that was mentioned, maybe that would happen, as we go down the road.
All righty. I think that's it. Meeting adjourned.
Good job, Mr. Chair.
That was exciting.